Welcome back, people. As Twitter seeks to increase its user and advertising revenue abroad, fast-growing emerging markets like Indonesia are critical. It is no surprise that the company plans to open an office in populous Indonesia in the next 3 to 6 months. The Jakarta office will be Twitter's first in Southeast Asia outside of its Singapore office. Elsewhere in the Asian Pacific region, Twitter has offices in Seoul, Tokyo, and Sydney. In our Talking Point segment today, our reporter Kenan Judge will be talking with President Global Revenue and Partnership Twitter, Adam Bain, to know more about the company's plans for Indonesia.
Well, hello, welcome to English Service Talking Point with me, Kenan Judge. Right now, I'm standing inside of the business centers of the Kempinski Hotel, Jakarta. And next to me is Mr. Adam Bain. He is the Global President Revenue and Partnership of Twitter Inc. And we are going to talk about the planning of the social media, one of the most famous social media, Twitter, that is going to open a branch soon in Indonesia. Well, I believe that Indonesia has a huge population. I'm sure it is quite attractive for Twitter. But what makes Twitters come to Indonesia and open a branch in Indonesia very soon? So we are going to talk with Adam Bain. Hello, Adam.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to Indonesia.
It's great to be here.
I'm proud that you are wearing that batik.
In fact, we were just talking. I'm going to take batik back to San Francisco and make Friday Batik Day in San Francisco.
Have you tweeted about the batik?
I just tweeted about the both opening the office here in Indonesia and also the shirt I'm wearing. People want to know more about the office and also see more of the shirt.
Well, good. Adam, I'm a Twitter user. I've been tweeting also. So for me, Twitter is really necessary right now.
Yes.
Because they have so many advantages for me. But when I heard that Twitter is coming to Indonesia, well, I believe that Twitter has so many users in Indonesia. And how do you see Indonesia as the populations that attracts you to come to Indonesia?
Yeah, Indonesia is incredibly important to Twitter, and it's the best time, the right time for Twitter to come to Indonesia. The Asia-Pac region overall is the largest and fastest growing region that we have across Twitter. So the entire region is important to us, and Indonesia is one of the largest areas inside of Twitter. And we see great use cases of both consumers and then also brands, how they're using the platform. And it just makes now is the right time for Twitter to be here in Indonesia. And I'm really proud to announce that we're going to be opening an office in the next 3 to 6 months. We're here looking at real estate and doing interviews with candidates out there, so we're going to have more soon, I hope.
Okay, so how do Twitter utilize the e-commerce in Indonesia for using the Twitter itself?
Well, so any of the ad products that we launch out to the market, we launch globally, and so we do those here in Indonesia as well. Today, what we've announced are a series of paid amplification tools for marketers and for businesses, and they use those tools to take their tweets and amplify the reach, target them in the right way, and then also do research around ROI to make sure that there's good return.
Okay, so I would like to know about the characteristic of the Twitter users in Indonesia. I believe you have lots of data showing about the characteristic of Indonesian user of Twitter.
So Indonesian users of Twitter are really active on the platform, and they connect to culture, they connect to communities, and in general, they're using Twitter in really new and interesting ways. Now, marketers take advantage of those emotions. I'll give you a really good example of that. During the holy month of Ramadan, there were 43 million tweets about Ramadan alone. So a tremendous amount of conversations about what was happening that moment here inside of the country. a marketer, Coca-Cola, saw all those conversations and decided to run a marketing campaign which really supported the feelings and the emotions that people were having. In fact, they ran a video campaign on Twitter that asked users of Twitter to use Twitter to thank their parents for their support during that time. So it's a great example of how marketers are using the Indonesia people and also what culture that makes it so unique and so great on the platform.
All right, so you mentioned about Ramadan. Well, I'm very curious about your point of view of the political aspects of Twitter. What I mean is we've just passed the presidential election. During the presidential elections, Twitter has a big role in creating, maybe I can say, public opinion through tweeting. And how do you see this?
Well, so it's a great example of how people use the platform. There were over 95 million tweets about the election alone. So it was a topic that everybody was having a conversation about, everybody was interested in about, and people were expressing themselves. You know, I think when we think about the election, there were great examples of how the candidates themselves were using Twitter. Jokowi's use of Twitter we think is a really shining example on how other politicians, how other candidates should be using the platform. And he uses it to connect to consumers or connect to the population, to connect to the people in a really interesting way. He shows a lighter side. Certainly his love of heavy metal music is coming through when you read his tweets on the platform. So it's this interesting mix between his professional or his candidacy's views and then also his connectivity to the people.
All right, so what is the planning, the grand planning of Twitter in the future, especially for opening the branch in Indonesia?
Well, so the branch in Indonesia is going to be really important for us, and it's going to be a nice mix of different roles and responsibilities within inside of the office. We're going to have people that support building the business here, so that certainly means all the support roles that you need to build an active and vibrant business. That's research, that's strategy, that's account management and optimization in the platform. We also are making a big commitment in terms of partnerships here in the market. We've done a number of partnerships with local wireless wireless carriers. These are people like XL and 3, Indosat and the like, to bring Twitter content even closer to the community. So Twitter works on high-end devices like the one you're holding, yep, but also down to feature phones as well. And we think, you know, part of our goal is to reach every single person on the planet with Twitter. And we know that in order to do that, you have to be here in market here in Indonesia.
Or every single person's in the world. Well, that's quite a word from you. But I'm very curious about the other social media. You know, this business is, I can say this is quite a new business, social media. Like I said, maybe 10 till 15 years back, we don't know what is social media. It's not happening, but it's really quite something right now. And I'm sure in this kind of business, you know, you have competitors also. So how do you see the competitors of the other social media users in Indonesia?
So there's a lot of innovation that's happening in the category, but what I can tell you is there's some things that makes Twitter unique. Twitter is the only platform in the world that's live, public, conversational, and distributed. It's the only thing that connects those three things together. Live, when events happen in the real world, they happen digitally on Twitter, sometimes exclusively on the platform. Public, you don't need to have a mutual follow to get content from people. Conversational, some of the best Twitter content or conversations between people. And distributed, what happens on Twitter may not just stay on Twitter, it goes to TV, it goes to magazines and newspapers and outdoor. The end result are incredible opportunities. We also think those are great opportunities for brands. I'll give you one other example. So Intel ran a campaign here, has been running a campaign here in Indonesia that's really successful called Tanya Intel. And the whole concept is that they ask users, Indonesian users, to ask Intel anything, any question around technology in the world, and Intel will give you an answer or response through Twitter. And we think it's yet another great example of using this live, public, conversational, and distributed method of Twitter that's great for consumers and also great for brands.
All right, so last questions from me. What kind of innovation that you are going to apply in Twitter so that you will be able to survive, well, let's say 10 years, 20 years?
Yeah, so we're going to keep evolving.
Next 20 years, yeah.
We're going to keep evolving the product and certainly the offering for brands. We just made an announcement yesterday of a new feature that's available here in Indonesia that I think Indonesian tweeters would love. This is an analytics platform that we've opened up. It was previously only available for brands, but now we've opened it up to every Indonesian user. And what it is an analytics platform for every one of your tweets. So you can look now at every single tweet and look at how it's how much engagement it's getting, how people are retweeting it, how many impressions it's getting, what's the audience demographics. So we think it's an incredible amount of content that every single Indonesian tweeter can look at and understand how their tweets are resonating with the audience. And if they look at it closely, they'll be able to hone their content to put even better tweet content out on the platform.
Well, I say good luck for opening a branch in Indonesia, and once more, welcome to Indonesia.
Thank you very much. We're happy to be here.
Yeah. All right, folks, that was Adam Bain, the Global President of Revenue and Partnership, Twitter Inc. I'm Kenan Judge signing off. We are going back to studio. Bye.